Hello and welcome to the How Not to Screw Up Your Kids podcast, the bucket emptying episodes. I'm your host, Dr. Mary Han, psychologist and parenting expert. So, pour yourself a cuppa, find a comfy seat and enjoy the conversation. Today's bucket emptying episode is for you as parents, tackling that overwhelm and trying to prioritise. So, it was a really useful, I remember reading Stephen Covey's book, or Covey, however you pronounce it, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of the things that I took from that has really stuck with me, I mean, this is probably 30 odd years ago that I read this book, was around the fact that as we as individuals have multiple roles. So I'm a mother, I'm an employer, I'm a psychologist, I'm a podcast host, I'm a wife, I'm a sister, I'm an auntie, and the list goes on and on and on. You all have the same. You have multiple roles and things that you do. And what usually happens with overwhelm, particularly around being a parent, is that we typically prioritise that one role of being parent at the exclusion of all of the other roles that we have. And actually, the really important roles that are around what makes us who we are. So there are roles that I would have, maybe athlete is probably too strong a word, but being outside and exercising is a really important thing to me. But if that role then gets sort of shoved down and gets neglected, it's likely to have an impact on my ability to empty my bucket. So this episode is very much addressing how do we take these multiple roles that we have that are pushing and pulling us in multiple directions so that we feel a little less overwhelmed. So here are my tips. The first thing is always around being compassionate, recognizing that we cannot be all things to everyone each and every week. So that's just a simple aspect of acceptance. So that goes without saying. The second aspect here is about then making sure that we always do something to take care of ourselves. So when we're looking at the roles that we're going to focus on each week, and I believe that that's a real classic, and I believe that's a really crucial way that we should be doing it, is rather than I've got 30 roles and I'm going to try and make sure I see that friend so I can make sure I'm a good friend. I'm going to try and make sure I do this so that I'm a great parent. I'm going to make sure I do that because I'm a great employee. I'm going to do this as a great auntie, sister, brother, whatever it might be. Instead, what we do is we look at week by week and we make a decision. I would encourage you to do this on a Sunday. Big fan, as you know, of a Sunday planning and family meetings, is make that decision to yourself. This week coming up, look at your diary, look at what your demands are, what your demands are around work, for family, and all of the other roles that you have, and make a decision to focus on no more than 5 roles that week. Ideally, if you can get it down to 3, that would be the sweet spot, but let's try 5, because I suspect if you look at the week that has been, you've probably tried to juggle 15. So if you look on a Sunday at what's coming up, what deadlines have you got, what commitments are already in the diary for yourself, for your children, what are the 5 roles that you can therefore focus in on? So identify those 5 roles first. And then within those 5 roles, make 1 commitment in each area. So you've made that 1 commitment, you've got 5 roles, 1 commitment in each area. So you've made basically 5 commitments, 5 promises to yourself about that week ahead. And what that does is when we take it in conjunction with the first one about being compassionate to ourselves and understanding that we can't do everything and be there for everyone in all of the roles that we have, by identifying the 5 that we're going to focus in on. Now, you may be fortunate when you look at the week ahead, it may well be that actually the demands and the commitments you have really only have you across 3 different roles. And that's where you get to make a choice. You may choose, do you know what? I'm only going to focus on those 3 roles, and actually I'm going to make 2 promises in each of those. Or you may say, actually, this is a great week. I've only got 3 roles that are the demands being placed on me. And these 2 roles in addition are really important to me, and I'd like to cultivate and nurture those, so I'm going to add those in. But that's how we begin to do it. So we start compassionately. We then look at those 5 roles, and within those 5 roles, we choose one thing that we're going to focus in on, so that's what we do. And then this is the crucial third step, is we consider what script, you're right, I'm saying script because it's really important that we do this. What script are you going to create that allows you to say, thank you so much for thinking of me in this extra role. May that be number 6, 7, 8, 9, 21, whatever it might be, that prepares you to be able to say, thank you, but this week I'm already fully committed and I'm not able to next week, whatever it might be, is that you have a script for the other roles and the other areas that you may then get a pull from that allows you to then use that as a second hand. I've got a script. I know that I'm only focusing in on these 5 roles. I've made one promise in each of these roles around that particular subject. And so I am going to say no using my script so that I can then park that until next week or park that for a month, whatever that might be, because it's so important that we prepare ourselves not only in terms of our aspirational bite-sized goals, but our recognition that we are likely to be presented with situations that might try and pull us away from what we've agreed that we're going to focus in on. And being forewarned is being prepared as being forewarned. So having that preparation in advance of what we're going to say and how we're going to say it. What we're going to say and how we're going to say it is really crucial and really helpful for us when we find ourselves in those situations. And let's face it, we all have that slight social dilemma of, oh my goodness me, I don't want to upset them. I don't want to appear to be uncaring. But what you're doing is you're keeping those promises that you made to yourself. And I think that that's a really important process in us getting away from that overwhelm, from our bucket overfilling, and then us feeling that we're being pushed and pulled in so many directions, and instead being super focused on making that commitment and keeping those promises that we make to ourselves. And that's such a helpful narrative for us. It's those small promises that we make to ourselves in private where no one else is watching that have the bigger impact on the bigger promises that we make that are much more public and much more visible. So I'm hoping that helps you. So remember, be compassionate. Pick 5 roles and 1 task within each, and then prepare a script that allows you to say thank you, but I'm already fully committed this week. I can revisit this next week, the week after, or whenever that might be. If you have enjoyed this podcast episode, I would be eternally grateful if you could share the link to this episode with friends, colleagues, forums that you're in that might also benefit from hopefully these wise words. So until next time.